All right, and welcome back to Planet Gen X, where we're just happy to see you because every day's a beautiful day. Hey, Brian, how's it going, my man?
Pretty well. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I am fantastic. I am excited to be here, full of energy, full of excitement, and happy we both wore gray today.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I consider this is our 12th episode, 12 weeks on, and I think I've worn black every day. I can't even remember what color. You're probably wearing black, too, or something like that. I just happen to be wearing gray. I'm wearing my Star Wars shirt today, like that. That's Captain Orgasm or Phantasm or whatever her name is. Yeah, I dig it. I don't get to wear this shirt much, man, because I was kind of a big boy for a little bit, and I bought outside my size.
Right.
Yeah, I'm back where I can wear it now, and happy to sport it because we got some videos to do later with The Mandalorian. Doing a little reaction video there, so I figured I'd just represent.
I hear you.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about today anyway, but how's it going, man? How you doing today?
I'm okay. I actually got a decent night's sleep for once, which is kind of a rare thing for me.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
hey, do me a favor.
Otherwise, I'm good.
Your volume's a little bit low. I don't know if it's the mic placement or what, but we'll catch that early. Make sure you're good and loud. Guten loud. Yeah, my German's paying off.
How's that?
It's a little better. You might want to just go straight for your volume knob a little bit. But anyway, while Brian is checking that out, yeah, that's better. While he's getting that straight, we're going to head right on into the news. And boy, we have a few things that we got to clean up from celebrations that I caught at the tail end.
Right.
Star Wars celebrations. A couple more a trailer dropped, and then what I thought was a trailer at first wasn't actually a trailer. It was somebody that had kind of made a trailer out of the pieces, the pirated pieces that they had, from people that did sneak shots. Because none of that stuff, that's a no-no. That's a no-no. Can't sneak that out. Disney can't have it. Yeah, but we had a Visions Volume 2 trailer that did come out. Now, I've actually not seen Visions Volume 1. I did watch the trailer for Volume 2, and I thought it was pretty cool, some of the different animation stuff they have. So I thought I really appreciated it as a former artist and one who wanted to get into 3D animation years and years ago. And it's not all 3D animation, but, I do appreciate cell art and all that good stuff, too. So it looked cool.
I'm on the other side. I call it 1 and not 2.
Well, there you go. So, 2 is supposed to come out May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Right.
So, yeah. Acolyte had a not official kind of somebody put up on YouTube that I watched, and it looked kind of interesting, to say the least. I can't wait to see what comes down the pipe. I'm really excited. I don't know what to say other than that because it's hard to really know what we're going to get.
Right. I mean, we're still expanding the universe, right?
Yeah. What's cool is it seems like they're going from like 1,000 years. We'll have stories spanning 1,000 years before, the New Republic and all that stuff, and going in, like we've already got the stories from the Rise of Skywalker stuff up to that point. Now we'll have that Rey movie coming 15 years after, so it'll continue past that point. Good deal. So anyway, that's all we got to say about Star Wars today. Woo that, huh? We'll be talking. We'll be talking plenty about it later, no doubt.
Right.
So there was also something else cool that I saw. Little John Wick news. And it's not John Wick 4, ladies and gentlemen. No, and I haven't actually seen that yet. Of course, I'll have to wait till it comes out on digital.
Drops, yeah. Same.
Yeah. Yep. The Continental from the world of John Wick. Yep. It dropped on April 12th, the trailer for that. And it is going to be a 3-part. This is what we know, folks. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to give you all the info right here, right now. It's a 3-part prequel miniseries from Peacock. The cock, I like to call. Actually, I can't, I got to give credit where credit is due. Not Big Jim, just Jim Cornette. Wrestling fans know Jim Cornette. He calls it the cock, and that's where I got it from. So it's not original. So a little bit of info on it. I'll just read you a little bit of something here. It is a 3-part event that will explore the origin behind the iconic Hotel for Assassins, centerpiece of John Wick universe, through the eyes and actions of a young Winston Scott, who was played by Ian McShane. For those of you who are big Ian McShane fans, this will be a young Winston Scott, so it won't be Ian McShane, obviously. He's not getting any younger. As he's dragged into the hellscape of the 1970s New York City. Wow. To face a past he thought he'd left behind. Well, Winston charts a deadly course through the hotel's mysterious underworld in a harrowing attempt to seize the hotel, where he eventually takes his future throne.
Right.
Interesting. Stars first announced the Continental in January 2018. Wow. Television Critics Association at the Television Critics Association press tour. That's when they did that. Lionsgate, the distributor of John Wick films, bought Stars in 2016, but reportedly a shift in programming strategy pushed the event series off of the cable network. Interesting. So this thing's been kind of in the limbo for a while.
It has, and the chatter about it started up right before it came out.
Okay. See, this is the first
reignited, I guess.
Yeah, I hadn't really heard anything, but I think I've said this in another podcast that I was kind of late getting into John Wick. I didn't really get into it till about 3, maybe a little bit of 2, but I just didn't get it at first. You can't leave me wondering what the hell is going on from the get-go and not giving me details. I didn't know they were going to make a sequel and all that stuff. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of felt like that was the point of the whole first movie, was to not, to focus on like an action movie and not, purposely not give you everything that you're used to in a usual AAA title, right?
Yeah.
Like a coherent series of events. It's like, here's the guy, this is what he's doing.
Right. Well, I mean, I just like, he's talking Russian to these guys at a gas station. Why are Russians at a gas station in America, wherever the hell we are? I think it was California, wasn't it? I don't know. I can't remember. I just like, I don't know. I'm a world builder guy. Build me a world. Give me details. Yeah. I like to know. But yeah, so I'm looking real forward to that. I think that ought to be great. Because I've really... Have you heard anything or seen? I haven't even seen trailers for John Wick 4. Believe it or not.
No, I just know that people have been talking about it, and what it will be, and the show being in limbo and all this other stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was referring.
My question is,
I was referring to John Wick 4. Have you seen the trailer for it and stuff?
Well, I've seen the trailers. Yeah.
See, I haven't even seen the trailer for it. I imagine it'll be out pretty soon, though. It won't take long. I mean, I could go get a pirated, theater rip of it, which those are, some look good, some don't, but I mean, I'm not trying to rip them off that
Matrix,
bad. Huh? Yeah, exactly. No doubt. Ugh. Don't even go there, bro. Anyway, our last little bit of news, man. SpaceX has announced that Starship is finally going to do its first test flight. They've set it for April 17th, which is funny because, everybody knows that 420 and 69 are two sets of numbers that follow Elon around everywhere, it seems, and not deliberately by himself, which some are, but they just seem to pop up. It's just one of those things. And it's funny because he posted the other day that while it's set for 417, he wouldn't be surprised if there was a 3-day delay.
Right.
Because I just assumed he would set it for 420. Anyway, I think most people did. And I said, I look forward to it. I'm going to get baked and watch a big ass history-making rocket launch. Because it's a big old rocket, buddy. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be history-making. I thought about driving down there just to see the launch, but that's almost going to Mexico. I thought it was a little closer to Houston. Nah. It is way down there in the tip, man. It's basically Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no going there. No. Probably going to be packed out anyway, that little town that's down there, little village. While we're on SpaceX news, though, they did have a launch last night at one of their other Falcon rockets, which is the 24th launch this year. And guys, they aren't the only ones launching rockets. This is just one company. Y'all really need to go out there and check out the space industry. It is a booming, kids. There's a lot of different companies out there. Not just worldwide, but within the United States. It's a good time for the space industry. It's one of the best times that we've had, obviously, since the 60s. And that marked the 224th launch they've had as a company. Pretty good. They ain't been around too long. It's a lot of launches. I'm impressed, man. What can I say? We grew up with space shuttles, and they launched what every couple years or something like that.
Yeah, not even yearly.
Yeah, I mean it was, and that was the first reusable, spacecraft. That was the point of it, to be reusable and be cheaper, and they still couldn't even manage right.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of the fantasy of space and whatnot. So far as normal practice, I don't know. It's a different story, right?
You're not feeling
fantasy.
You're not feeling space flight, space travel for humans, huh? For like us.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not going to be for us.
Well, I mean,
right?
it's happening right now. I'm just saying, like, you don't think we should be bothering.
You're going to go to space?
Well, I mean, I can't say for sure that it's not an impossibility. I'm not dead yet.
Right.
We got the rate it's going. It's the chances are getting better every day.
I don't know, man. We'll see. That'll have to be after the Malibu mansion, right?
Well, certainly. I mean, I guess I'd have to be somebody for sure, because
right.
I mean, it's not going to be cheap. But never say never, man. Never say never. And again, listen, I'm not going to be the first to jump on board, because I'm not looking to fucking just die either.
Right.
Yeah, I want to make sure this shit's sound. Oh, real though. But yeah, so that's pretty much our news for the day. I really thought we had a lot more news than that. It did look like a lot, but it wasn't. But that's okay, because we got a little game to play. If
we do.
Our recurring viewers will remember, one time recently we played a little game called The Year is Whatever. And we would just reminisce, talking about the TV and movies and whatever from the time, if there was gaming, whatever it could be. We just picked a year. And we're just going to, I got a few questions for Brian. I'm going to ask Brian, and we'll just see how this goes. So, the year is 1997. Brian and I were working together in a little computer store. Doesn't need a name. It no longer exists in our town. I'm sure they're still in. Well, I'm sure they're still in business. They had plenty of stores. There's probably at least one left.
They were related to a larger company.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So they are probably in business of some kind. But anyway, the year is 1997. We are there. We are working together in a computer store. And Brian, what is your favorite TV show from that year?
I honestly think I was watching a lot of Buffy.
Yes, you were.
My girlfriend at the time lived in Birmingham, and she was living with friends and had a normal flatmate watching of Buffy.
Right.
Every time it came on. And it was almost like an MST3K, The Room type viewing experience.
Yep. Yeah, I remember you going to these very often, and I remember that you were heavily into Buffy at the time.
It was great fun. It was just hilarious.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was weird to try and go back to see some of it, because you go back later, jokes don't land anymore, right? Unless they're specific, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, watching stuff from your past is the Disney DeSoto moment, right?
Yes, definitely.
So there was a lot of Buffy, but there was also South Park. I think everybody was watching.
Absolutely. I know for one, a lot of times, for some reason, South Park sticks out in my mind a lot, and us going to Waffle House. Because also at that time we were playing Magic the Gathering too, and going up to Waffle House, and South Park was new. And I just remember, when something's new, it's quote after quote after quote. You're just dropping every quote you can think of from the show. Did you catch the show last night? Jack caught me. He's so funny. It's just fun times, man. I was thinking of another one around that time that we used to quote a lot. Another movie from that time, Austin Powers, came out that year.
Right. Yeah.
And there's another quoter that everybody was dropping, especially me, man. Like my Austin Powers and Dr. Evil were on point back then, man. I don't do them much anymore, so I don't think they'd be very good. But
I do remember a lot of that from you.
Yeah, they were on point. I loved it. I thought it was one of the greatest movies that had come out in years. And it was huge, bro. It was a big time.
It was.
Big time.
I don't know. It's weird because that was a point in time where, I don't know, I feel like Michael Myers really hit his stride.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was on top of the world, man.
Because about the same time, I say about the same time, he went from like So I Murdered an Axe Murderer, which I thought was hilarious.
Has its moments, for sure.
Yeah. To like SNL and Wayne's World and all that, right? And then
I want to say that actually that came after or between the Wayne's World's sequel to Wayne's World. It might have come
right. Yeah, that's what I mean. He went back to Wayne's World.
Yeah, it was right up there before Austin Powers came out because you had his Scottish dad in that movie, so you're getting a taste, a little bit of taste of what was to come. And he was absolutely on top of the world. You couldn't go anywhere without talking about Mike Myers at the time. You've already.
I also know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to go to the next subject. If you got something.
Please do.
Or not the next subject, but the next thing. I did watch a lot of Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Dexter's Lab.
Yes, Johnny Bravo is on the list.
Johnny Bravo.
Came out that year.
I still have like these. I was going to school at the time as well. I was going to get my computer networking technician license or something
like that.
It was a bullshit degree.
Right. Yeah, like A+ certification.
Right. They really didn't prepare me to get in the world. I got bamboozled by an educational facility, right?
Yeah.
But there were guys that I went to class with that if I see to this day, they're going to get a Johnny Bravo from me.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was our thing.
That was one I over-abused, too, no doubt. Hey, pretty mama. Yeah. Yeah, he was great, man. I love Johnny Bravo. And then, Cow and Chicken came out that year. Yeah. The Angry Beavers, which when I heard that the very first time, man, I'm thinking, what the hell, dude? All I can ever think about when I hear that show name is like really wrecked looking vaginas, dude. I mean, just the worst looking wrecked vagina you could think of is an angry beaver to me.
I kind of think that's a lot of people had that response because I remember thinking the same thing at that age.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, like, yeah, because we were like 2 years out of high school.
Right. Yeah. Just like Angry Beavers. Yep. Who knows?
Yeah. No doubt. I was trying to see, there was others that came out, but Dexter wasn't on the list for that year, so it must have come out the year before or something.
I think it may have been the year after.
May have been. It may have been right after. But the Cartoon Network was definitely a huge thing for us. I don't know when it came out, but for me, and it will probably come up in another year, Space Ghost. Space Ghost Coast to Coast and Brack Show.
Brack, fucking Brack.
Space Ghost.
You've heard me bracket a lot of times.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there was this one Space Ghost where Zorak's just asking Space Ghost if he wants gum the whole time.
Space Ghost.
Yeah.
You want some gum? You want some gum?
I mean, it's just hilarious, especially when you're high. It's even funnier.
Right.
But,
Yeah. And that was something that I was doing a lot of back then too.
Oh yeah.
Killing brain cells left and right.
Some things never change for me. Let's see. Yeah, and the TV was good that year. I'm just going to run through a few real quick, and we'll pick out from some of those and talk about them. Because some of these I didn't watch a lot of, but okay.
Well,
so
I want a reaction from you on one.
Okay, cool. So let me explain to everyone too. I came up with kind of a list of TV and movies real quick too that I could reference real quick. And now it's not comprehensive. It's not from the whole year. It's stuff that we would relate to. Like, I'm pretty sure everything I pulled from this list, and if Brian went through the list again, he would pick the same stuff out and not. In fact, the only stuff he would put in, and it's the same thing I would do if I thought you guys knew more about it, is the British stuff. That's the only thing. But this is stuff that I kind of think that y'all can relate to more because you saw it in the States. Unless you were really looking for it, it was hard to get certain British things and wouldn't have just had access to. So that's what list I'm going by. So we have Stargate SG-1, Oz, King of the Hill, Pokemon, Ally McBeal. Let's just go with those real quick. I didn't touch Stargate. Never did.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know
I
why.
watched it. It was, I don't know. It kind of almost felt like they knew that some of their fans didn't take them as seriously as maybe the show tried to portray situations, maybe.
Well, Richard Dean Anderson really kind of acted like he didn't want to be there, it seemed to me. Every episode I watched, he just phoning it in, it looked like. And I guess that was his character or whatever. But yeah. And
he was also MacGyver for so long.
Oh, yeah. And I was watching a lot of Star Trek. Yeah, I mean, here we got The Next Generation's just goes off the air this year. So we have Deep Space Nine, we have Voyager going on. And Babylon 5 is also.
What were the other two that you mentioned?
Oz, which I love. Oz, King of the Hill, I loved. Another quoter.
There was another one.
Pokemon.
King of the Hill, I watched. Not that one.
Ally McBeal.
Wasn't there one more? Ally McBeal,
I didn't go on past that. No, those were the ones I've mentioned so far.
I'm having a moment.
But Oz, yeah, for me, Oz is one of the greatest. It's one. Well, it kicks off kind of HBO's tenure as one of the top places to go for great drama because that was it. It started with Oz, and after that, it was The Sopranos. Then everything started rolling out. Deadwood, Dead Like Me, 6 Feet Under, Carnival. All those came after Oz, and a lot of the actors that were in Oz were in a few of them anyway. What's her name? Ended up being the Lady Soprano. The name's eluding me at the moment. Shit. Anyway, yeah, she was in Oz for a while playing one of the guards. King of the Hill, I mean, just, what can you say, man? They're bringing it back. It may already be back. I just know were bringing it back, so it's going to start a new show soon. That's awesome. Don't care about Pokemon myself. I just wanted to note that it did come out this year, and that's a big deal to a lot of people. So definitely nerd culture-wise, big deal. Ally McBeal didn't watch. Just Shoot Me. We're going to go down the list. Dharma and Greg. La Femme Nikita.
I wanted to mention that one specifically because that was kind of the beginning of the Chuck Lorre dynasty, right?
Which one? Yes, Dharma and Greg. Yeah. Loved Dharma and Greg, man. Jenna Elfman. Oh my God! That woman is toy like a toy guy. I mean,
well, I just mean like obviously, Chuck Lorre, 2.5 Men.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory. Yeah.
This was the beginning of like all of that, right?
Yeah. Hey, that's going to be a running theme this year too. We're going to see a lot of stuff that you're going to go, wow, he had it first. All right, so Just Shoot Me I didn't watch, but it was definitely notable. It was a big show. La Femme Nikita I watched a little bit of. It was all right. Daria I didn't watch. Another one of those great.
I did watch Daria, just not a lot. Like, I could appreciate it for a few episodes, but there just wasn't enough there for me.
Yeah, no, I get it. I watched a few of them too. The new Batman adventures, very big at the time. Very big deal. Teletubbies. I had to mention it because
Right.
I mean it's the Teletubbies. Let's see. Earth Final Conflict. That was a that was a Roddenberry show, and I did not watch that one either. That one kind of fell in the Stargate area for me. Just because it's science fiction, man, does not mean I'm going to watch it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it helps, but it doesn't mean I'm going to watch it. Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. I put that in there because it was hugely popular for me. It seemed like it was a pretty big deal at the time.
I didn't watch a lot of it, but I was familiar with it. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen an episode or two.
Yeah. Todd McFarlane's Spawn. Now, this is TV show, guys, we're talking about. For some of you might not even be aware of this, but at the time, it was, to me, the movie came out this year, too. The TV show was way better. I mean, the art, to me, looked way more like the comic. It really is Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
Yeah.
It's animated. It looks great. Got to check it out. You can see it on HBO Max right now.
It did kind of have a unique comic-y feel so far as animation. There are a lot of those types of animations out there that try to do it, but it did bring its own thing too, right? It was Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, he has his own very unique style, and that's what gets me.
Right.
When you can't use Todd's style, like live action, it's very hard to replicate his style, but in that show you can, and they got it very close. It looked very good, and that's why I suggest you go and see it. If you're a Todd McFarlane fan, and you should be, go check it out. The next thing on the list is Conan the Adventurer. I did not watch this show either. I don't even remember it, honestly. It must have flown under the radar on one of the I can't think of syndication networks.
I don't know. I mean, I know it was around. I recognize it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I don't know. I kind of feel like that was a time in our life where we felt we had to make choices in the cartoons that we liked, right?
Oh shit! Was that no? That was live action, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure that was live action.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah. No, you're right about the cartoon
one
part.
I did not watch, and I think you're right. I think it was a syndication issue.
Yeah, and it just flew right under the radar. I think it has that big guy, that big Austrian guy. He may not be. He may be German, actually. I can't think of what he's in. His face is right in my mind. And I can't think of what. Anyway,
obviously he's not talking about the Conan we all love from the old movie.
Right, I'm not talking about
Even
Schwarzenegger.
He is also Austrian.
Yeah, he is Austrian, but yeah, not Schwarzenegger. It's another guy. Nightman came out. I don't really remember ever catching an episode. My friend watched it, and I think I've been in the room as they were watching it, so that's probably the extent of what I saw.
Wasn't for me either.
Yeah, not a fan. Tenacious D. Not a big fan.
Until later.
Yeah, I don't not like him or like him. It's just they had to be mentioned because I know a lot of people do like him, and they came out with their little show that year.
I have songs that I'll listen to on repeat, and that's none of their songs.
Yeah.
But whenever I hear their music, I'm not going to, go to something else. I'm appreciative of it. It does have value to me, but I don't seek it out.
Yeah. No, I can dig it for sure. Let's see. Donkey Kong Country, the animated show, came out that year. Already mentioned Angry Beavers. Police Academy. Now this is kind of funny because we've had there was a thing going on here. Police Academy the series, which I never saw. I didn't remember that one at all. And Honey, I Shrunk the Kids the series. And you have to understand that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was huge. It was a movie that came out the same year. Which
I was going to say, didn't they do the sequel that year?
Yeah, well, there had been 2 or 3 sequels. I don't know if this was the second or third one, but yeah, the Honey I Shrunk movies were huge right now. So they obviously thought a TV series was going to be the way to go. I don't remember it either, so it obviously didn't do that well.
Yeah, I mean the first one had the newness to it, right?
All right, it was cute. I like Rick Moranis.
Yeah, not only that, but so far as the cinematography was concerned, the blocking, the sets, all of that, it was different.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I'm not sure that there's enough room in it for sequels.
Right, and also, too, there was a lot of practical sets. Like, this was still in the early days of CG, when they had it, but there's still a lot of practical sets going on. I went on a tour in MGM Studios and saw kind of where they did some of it, and neat to see how they did it. The giant bee and stuff where they're riding it around. Anyway, behind the VH1's Behind the Music, which is hugely popular to this day still. Had to get mentioned. I loved some of the stuff they had.
Well, it's interesting. It was their attempt at documentaries, right?
Oh yeah,
it was kind of a documentary setup, but I don't know. It was centered around musicians and bands
and this is the year where I don't know when The Real World came out. It has to be. I didn't see it on this list, but it has to be either 97, 98. Might have been 96 even. But that's what starts the whole, what do they call it?
I feel like it was earlier. The whole downfall of MTV.
Oh, well, not only that, but TV in general. The what's it called? Not live action.
Show?
Yeah, reality TV. Thank you. Real World is what started all that, and
it was quite different. I really appreciate going back and seeing some of the. They've brought forth some footage here and there.
Yeah.
That was not in the show, and it was different because again. It was just a totally different premise than reality shows weren't really a thing.
Yeah, well, they weren't a thing, and we all believed that they were just doing whatever they were doing. It was still, directed back then. I wouldn't say scripted, but it was very directed back then. So there was no reality to it. We're all being voyeurs. Somewhere it started around this time. VH1 and MTV were still important, but yes, this begins the downfall, like Brian says about bringing up, they have a documentary series. This is what starts the downfall of videos. That's why I
don't know. I think it was, I think it has value. I can't define that value. Right.
So yeah, maybe. Moving on, Team Knight Rider. I did not watch it.
I did not. I remember seeing that, and I was like, maybe I want to see that, but I don't think I had access.
Yeah, I don't think. I remember the different vehicles they had. They had like a bike and different car, maybe a boat or something. I don't know. It was. It looked kind of cheesy, but maybe it was all right. Obviously, didn't last that long. Anyway. Yeah. Antiques Roadshow, which has been a big thing in Britain for years, made its American debut this year, 1997. And
all you night owls?
Yeah, many people enjoy the Antique Roadshow. And nerds, especially nerds, I should say.
Well, Chris it's the only thing on at 2 o'clock, right?
Right, yeah, hell yeah. Especially, when you only have a few channels. Even back then, we didn't have, 1,000 channels to choose from.
Right.
The Chris Rock Show came out that year. Now,
never really got into it.
Yeah,
although I love Chris Rock as a comedian.
I do too. I don't remember it specifically. I probably did watch a lot of it. I love Chris Rock. Jenny McCarthy was obviously huge this year because she had two shows going on. She had the Jenny McCarthy show and the Jenny show, or just a show called Jenny. It was just a sitcom. The Jenny McCarthy show was like a sketch show where she would it was basically like in living color. From what I
would have said, she was trying. I think she got a lot more inspiration from Carol Burnett, but I don't think
possibly. I remember
executed it in a proper manner.
Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it went on a couple years anyway, so that's not too bad. Another big thing at the time, and I don't know when the Croc Hunter came out, but I want to say it was not. In fact, I do know. I think it was 96 when his first series came out, or first special came out in the U.S.
Yeah.
But Going Wild with Jeff Corwin was the next guy to jump on the old bandwagon of catching critters and playing with them and pissing that old guy off from the San Francisco Zoo. What's his name? He's always on Carson.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Hanna.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They used to make Jack Hanna so irate. He used to go on the night talk shows and just totally talk shit about Corwin and Irwin.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, I never got into Corwin, but he did eventually get a following, right?
Yeah, he did. He got quite a big following. I mean, to me, he was like the frou-frou version of Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
He was just a little too light for me. Hardball with Chris Matthews debuted that year, and I mean that blew my mind. I'm like, Jesus, that long ago? So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, another program came out that year called The View, definitely lived past its expiration date. WWE, oh, I'm sorry, well, at the time it was called WWF, but WWF Shotgun Saturday Night. Boy, I remember that. Wrestling fans will definitely remember that. A not too great experiment for the old WWF.
I think it's safe to say that this was a turning point for TV in general.
No doubt, no doubt. Definitely, we're coming up on the end of the millennium, and everybody seemed like they were taking that to heart. You were either scared to hell about Y2K, or you're looking to the future and how things were going to be different, and that's where we ended up.
Well, I mean, like I said, this is the start of the Chuck Lorre dynasty, and I've watched some of his shows, but I don't know, they're not for everybody, right?
Oh yeah,
it's just like it's almost a standard sitcom premise in a different situation.
Yeah. Exactly.
But also the reality TV, The View, all this other stuff. It was just like the material that was being passed as art in a form wasn't really art anymore. It was a commercial success.
Yeah. True. Very true. Well, the year is still 1977, and Bill Clinton was president. And
are we done with the show?
No. UPS was this the year? I can't remember. I think this was the year UPS went on strike. I know that we were working at Uptech at the time. I can't remember if it was year 97 or year 98. So I want to say 97, though, that UPS went on strike. I don't know, though. That was a big deal. I'm having
a hard time remembering it. Yeah, it was.
What movie was your big movie for that year that you...
Well, we had to throw some more shows in there. I can't say that I watched it, but there have been at times in my life where I was basically stuck in my house. Nothing was on. There was nothing to do. And something called Walker, Texas Ranger came on. And, I was never a fan, but I've side-eyed it more than one time.
Did that come out that year?
It didn't come out, but it was aired.
Oh, okay. I see.
You were asking what I was watching, and I can't say I didn't watch it.
Okay, I got you.
There was also X-Files. I watched a lot of.
Yeah.
I watched X-Files all throughout.
Yeah, I would have been watching Voyager at the time.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to take a walk as far as what. But that's a good way of doing it because
shows that were out, right?
Yeah,
they didn't come out that year, but
I was listening to
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld was out.
Was going.
And I wasn't watching Friends really. I did watch some Seinfeld.
Yeah, I think that's all I got off the top of my head.
My main things would have been watching Star Trek. For sure. But yeah, so what do you think your favorite movie was from that year?
Well, it's weird. There are so many that came out that year that were huge, right?
Yes, there were. I remember saying something
the year
about
we
one
got
of
the special editions, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and I forgot it's supposed to be on the list. I was going to add it because technically it wasn't on the list of movies that came out, but I remembered that it did come out in 97. We got the Star Wars Special Edition.
I watched Empire a few times that year, right?
Yeah. That was I watched them every time. I think I only saw Jedi a couple times, but yeah, each one that come out because at the time a girlfriend my best friend's girlfriend was working at this little picture show deal that was in one of the towns, and it was just a little theater that you could go and eat and drink beer and sit at like some high top tables and watch a movie. And it's something that we had back in the day in the 80s. When I was a little kid, I remember going to see Popeye at a similar place like that, but actually in the same city. But
man, I love
that's how we watched it. So we just had the whole place to ourselves. It was pretty cool. And a few people would come into some of them. But they didn't really do great business, unfortunately. Yeah, that was probably the biggest deal of the year for us as far as like what the hell we were anticipating, no doubt. Movies that came out we'll just go through a couple. And I'm going to talk about the first one because I remember there was a guy named Chen that worked with us, and I was always joking with him about how Spawn was going to be the biggest movie of the summer. I would always say it like Arnold used to do with T2 back in '92. He would say, "It's going to be the biggest movie of the summer," you know. And so that's what I kept saying about Spawn. It's going to be the biggest movie of the summer, Chen. It's going to be the biggest movie. And he kept saying, "No, it's not. It's not." I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Spawn #1 sold so many copies you wouldn't believe. I said I got like 3 or 4 of them myself. I still actually have a couple of them. Yeah, he was like, no, and ultimately, I gotta say, he was right. I was completely wrong.
remember you pulling a Schwarzenegger a lot during that period of our life.
The biggest movie of the summer. Definitely. Because I just remember because back then, when he was making the talk show run, Arnold, for T2, he went on Arsenio. There wasn't many places you could go. So he basically, back then, they just did the same thing at each place. They talked about the same stuff. So he just kept saying that everywhere he went. That's all I remember from Arnold and T2 of the summer of '92. How about that? That's how I reference shit. Anyway, moving on. Titanic was big. Big.
I actually watched that in the theater and hated myself.
Oh, see, I still haven't seen it to this day.
It's a long movie. And I think my girlfriend at the time wanted to watch it.
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah.
I feel for you, bro. Yeah, I'm just not doing it. Not going to happen. The Lost World Jurassic Park. I did not see that one. Still haven't seen it, I don't think.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I've been wanting, my wife and I were doing a Jurassic Park run, and then we got ADHD. I still can't say it. Jesus Christ. ADHD. Out. That's hard to say, man. Yeah, so hopefully we'll go back and revisit it. Men in Black. That was a big movie. Not my favorite out of all of them, though. I like the second one better than most of them. I think it's my favorite out of all of them.
I mean, I never cared for anything after the second one. It'd be hard for me to choose between the first and the second one, though.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but I did like it enough to say, yeah, I could watch it. I don't know if I'll watch it again at this point in my life.
Yeah. I don't know either. I guess time will tell. Tomorrow. Go ahead.
I think I've got an answer. One answer. There's probably going to be 2 answers as to my favorites. Is what was my favorite back then?
Yeah.
Looking back now, I can say The Game is probably really high up there for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I didn't actually put it on the list. I did see it, but it wasn't one that stood out for me because I didn't see it. So I'm glad you added it because you're bringing relevancy. That's the point of having both of us here to.
Well, that's a Fincher film. I'm a huge fan of almost all of his work.
Who was it?
That was Fincher, David Fincher.
Oh, David Fincher. Okay.
And that was the Michael Douglas movie where he was getting gaslit.
Maybe I'm thinking I probably have seen it actually.
It's a big movie.
Yeah.
To me.
All right. Tomorrow Never Dies came out that year. Good James Bond movie. Yeah.
That was the Pierce era, right?
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan. He would have more success with GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Definitely. 2 years later. Air Force One, great movie. I still love watching that to this day. Liar, Liar, excellent movie. Jim Carrey is top notch. One of his best roles.
Yeah, that was like, Ace Ventura was funny on the first one.
Oh, yeah. Second one sucked. Yeah.
But Liar, Liar was just like above all that.
Yeah, he just, he outdid himself with that movie. It was just on top of it. Another movie I hadn't seen, My Best Friend's Wedding. At least I don't think I've seen it. If I had, I don't remember it. I know it's very relevant, though. Yeah, that's what I figured. The Fifth Element.
It was an important movie at the time.
This movie's like a running joke for Brian and I, for sure, especially working at the place we're working at, too, because this is one of our test DVDs.
Yeah.
And man, now, see, I'm trying to remember, was it a test DVD just at Uptech, or was it at CDO as well? Because I seem to remember it at both places.
You know where I got stuck in at CDO, right? Like, that was where I, got my clerical skills.
Yeah, doing the
all
RMA. Yeah.
Yeah. I was in POG,
Yeah.
I never saw burn-ins, man.
That's right.
And for those of you who don't know, POG means poor old guy. It was the definition of this little pit we had where people would come in with their computers and they were busted and they would work on them. And you would be stuck down there as the only person that these people could talk to while they were trying to repair their computers.
Yeah, you were the poor old guy that had to deal with customers that were too lazy to pay to get their computer fixed and thought they would do it themselves because they had a tech there to help them along. And yes, you were definitely a poor old guy.
It was one of the worst.
Yeah.
What was his name? Who was the guy that was usually there?
Clarence?
No, Bob.
Bob, yeah.
Bob and Clarence, but I remember Bob. He just seemed to be unfazed by it.
Yeah, I think Eric, who I'm still in touch with on Facebook.
He's still got a shop on 150, right?
Does he?
I thought he did.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know. I have to ask him. Eric, if you're watching, let us know.
Yeah, please, man.
Yeah.
I know I caught him on some kind of social media a while back, and he was doing something, but it's been a while.
Yeah, he knows Jason Odom, so we've just kind of keep in contact through there, I guess. Where
Back
was
to the
I?
list.
Yeah, Liar, my best friend's wedding, Fifth Element, 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag. I know I've seen it, but it's been years and years. Great movie. Alien Resurrection. That was another one that we were stuck with watching over and over and over again, if you remember, after Kenny came back from China.
Those were actually
Taiwan.
two.
Sorry.
That one and Fifth Element were actually movies that I really liked and couldn't stand by the time I was
and I have watched Fifth Element in the last year or so, and Alien Resurrection, and I had to tell my wife the whole story about how tormented we were from both those movies. So we're definitely got PTSD from those movies. PTSD. Boy, I'm having a rough time with letters today, aren't I? Jesus. An American Werewolf in Paris. Oh, I love this movie, man. When it came out, I was like, I thought it was great. I liked it a lot. But I was huge, and I still am, but back then I was way more. I like werewolves a lot, so I was just happy for a good werewolf movie, too.
Well, I've always been a huge fan of like The Howling and the original in London. Those were big for me for some reason. So Paris had a lot of practical effects that were interesting. I will give it that, right?
Yeah.
But overall, the movie, I just couldn't do it.
I weren't feeling it, huh? Well, it's fine. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Amistad came out that year. I have not seen Amistad yet.
Movie.
Anaconda, I will not see Anaconda. That is bullshit how fast that snake moves.
Right.
Yeah, there is such thing as gravity, folks. And we've already mentioned Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Right.
I dare not try my impressions now. I'm so out of practice on those two.
Let me drop one on you, the one I want your reaction from.
Okay, go for it.
Bean.
Yes, Bean's on the list.
I know you are a huge fan of Rowan.
I love Rowan Atkinson. I can barely tolerate Mr. Bean.
Right, yeah. And I think I feel the same way. I think but the facts speak for themselves. That was a hugely popular character. He made a lot of money doing that for a long time.
I recently...
so it's got public appeal.
Oh, you sure? Obviously it did, man. He made a fucking movie about it. That's what gets me, is how can you make a movie about a guy who's... I mean, it just does nothing. I've gone back recently and watched some of the original episodes, and it's funny. I mean, I get it. If anybody gets British humor, I do, for sure. But yeah, the fact that they made a movie about it blows my mind. They made more than one movie about it. That blows my mind. But there is an audience for it. People love Rowan. I love everything Rowan's ever done, including Mr. Bean, just not as much.
Yeah, well, that character was almost like a mime without the makeup and outfit, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Just verbalizations is really all you got.
Kind of gruntings, you would get.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Something like that.
Oh, what's this?
As opposed to interacting with imagined material or whatever, it was real world material, right?
Yeah.
It was pratfalls and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. He's amazing, and he doesn't. He says, "I just don't think." I saw some recently, and he said he doesn't think he's anything he can do with that character anymore. Like he's over it. He's past it. Yeah, that was it. Did I say Batman and Robin already?
You were getting to Batman.
Batman and Robin, the nipple suit.
So that was 1 and 2 before that, right?
Well, you had
Batman.
You had Batman Returns with Keaton. Yeah, and then you had the Batman Forever with Val Kilmer, which is my favorite.
Oh yeah.
And then Batman and Robin came out after that.
Right, which was just
and had the same director, Joel Schumacher, who did pretty good with Batman Forever. But yeah, he put nipples on the bat suit. People were pissed about that. You had Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. You had what's her name is Poison Ivy. Uma Thurman, yeah, and who was the other villain? Was that it? I thought there was another
Riddler?
male villain. No, Riddler was in Batman Forever with Two-Face.
I'm pretty sure there was a third. I just can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I can't either. That's how impressive it was.
Yeah, well, I will say this. As far as the color palette for the cinematics, they were trying to go for a comic book feel, right?
Yeah, Joel Schumacher liked a lot of those neons for sure in those movies. Yeah, it was neon everywhere.
Yeah, but you know, I wouldn't say the sets were great. I don't know that they were bad.
No,
I would not call them great.
I don't actually. And again, like he did Batman Forever, and it's the same kind of feel. So I don't hate the feel of Gotham or anything like that.
Right.
You know, it's just some of the characters. You know, I don't know. I would like we got his take in the third one. They need to let somebody else do the next one. That's where they made the mistake. We would have gotten a different kind of take.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well,
anyway.
This was the one that had me write off Batman for a while.
Yes.
Until
obviously, the Nolan movies. Yeah, those are great. Talk about getting to a comic book, back to the roots. That was good.
Right.
They did that. Beautician and the Beast gets honorable mention because of 40-Year-Old Virgin. I just had to put it in there. For those of you who loved 40-Year-Old Virgin like I did, the Beautician and the Beast reference. I would rather sit through Beautician and the Beast than listen to any more of Yamo. Who was it? Oh God, his name was Michael McDonald. Yamo, be there one more time. If I have to listen to Yamo, be there one more time, I'm gonna Yamo blow this place to the ground. Yeah. I would rather listen to Beautician and the Beast. So that's why.
Here's one I don't know if you'll have on your list.
Okay.
Maybe you do. It had Spacey in it. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. It was a Spacey.
I did not put it on the list. I've actually been to where they filmed that in Savannah, Georgia. Yeah.
I don't think Cusack was in. I don't know. I could be misremembering stuff because Grosse Point Blank came out that year. I think that may be in the running for my favorite at that time.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't put it on the list either because I haven't seen that one either. And that's unfortunate for me, and that's why I'm glad that you're putting them on the list because, just because I didn't see it doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be on our list for honorable mention.
Some of my favorite acting by Dan Aykroyd in that movie.
Oh, well, I definitely need to see it then if he's in it. No doubt. Yeah. Let's see. Beverly Hills Ninja, whatever. I just like to mention it because Chris Farley is just the best, man.
A great physical comedian.
He was the best. He was great. Yeah, physical was great. I think about him falling on that table in that skit. It's so funny. Boogie Nights, huge movie.
Everybody knew Boogie Nights, right?
Huge movie. You gotta hear Dawn. Booty Call.
This was, I think, the first time we saw Heather Graham, right?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, this made her, and then she got the Austin Powers 2 movie, and that really made her.
Hottie, but
yeah. I always had a thing for Heather Graham for sure. I was definitely down with some Heather Graham. You get nice boobies. Booty Call came out that year. I have not seen that movie, but it spawned the phrase like in culture forever. Up until they probably don't use it anymore, I don't guess, but
I actually had a friend who got that DVD. We watched it with other, a group of friends watched it.
Yeah.
I think once, but he kept it on repeat, and like it was like it was almost always on whenever I went on over there. And I just remember Tommy Davidson sitting in the freaking hospital bed, like, "Don't take my Johnson."
I love Tommy Davidson was great.
Yeah.
Chasing Amy. Good old Kevin
movie.
Smith movie, man.
That one's in the running as well. Yeah, his big. It wasn't like his first movie, but it was like his big, not the other movies.
Yeah, this is his third movie, and it's not my favorite, but rewatching as I've gotten older, I definitely appreciate it a lot more than I did the first when it came out. I did not appreciate it at all back in the day. I thought, what the hell is Kevin Smith doing? This is all wrong, except for the Jay and Silent Bob scene. It's all wrong. But now I totally feel it. It's a great movie. It really is a great movie.
Hilarious, right?
It really is.
The performances we get from everybody on that cast, and that I laugh every time, man.
Now there's only one movie I just want. Well, two now. The Tusk sucks, and I haven't seen Red State. I want to see that, but Jersey Girl, I won't do it.
Yeah,
not happening.
My favorite thing was the Darth Vader rant in that, right?
Yeah.
That was so great.
Yeah, anytime they go off on a Star Wars rant or something like that, it's always great. Like the whole thing in Clerks about, whether or not those workers die, how they died, and, just trying to do their job.
I'll work for you. Yeah.
Con Air came out that year. It's
another big movie. It's running.
Right, yeah.
Great performance. Like, this was Cage. I don't know what he did for this role, because he really did not ham it up or anything like that in this.
Yeah,
right?
it's a pretty hair-raising movie, man. It's like, it's crazy when they land that plane.
Buscemi creeped the hell out of everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Definitely a good movie.
Like, all kinds of things were excellent in that film.
Yeah, this 97 was a great year, no doubt.
Yeah.
Dante's Peak, which there was another movie too where they had a couple volcanoes. It was funny, they had two volcano movies, two asteroid hitting the Earth movies, two world-ending movies. It was funny how they would always do those in pairs. The Devil's Advocate, great freaking movie, man. Love it.
Again in the running. Yeah, like it's amazing. This is one of those things that I want to bring up when people want to talk about Keanu being from Bill and Ted in every role he's
one-dimensional. Yeah,
this is not one of them.
Right. No, I agree with you there, and I've been one of those people.
Al,
yeah.
Al Pacino did great. Everybody.
He really did. Speaking of Al, Donnie Brasco.
Yeah.
Great ass movies.
Everybody's favorite.
Johnny Depp, man. Love Johnny Depp, man. Johnny Depp is my hall pass. Not that I ever would. Not that I ever would, but man, if I had to do it, it would be with him for sure. Event Horizon. Nice little movie for, it's not a great movie. It's a nice movie to see Sam Neill in, and Lawrence Fishburne before he gets really bumped up for The Matrix, because he literally probably went from this movie right into filming The Matrix.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It's interesting. I don't think I was able to appreciate it the first time.
Definitely not.
But going back and rewatching it, I don't know. For some reason, Sam Neill being in it always makes me go back to him in the Stephen King one. Mouth of Madness. Into the Mouth of Madness?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that movie.
Oh, that was
If he's
crazy.
in it, I'd like to see
watch
it.
That.
Yeah, okay, I'll check that out. Let's see, where am I? Face Off. I actually saw this one in the theater. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Really good movie. Just fucking...
this is Cage hamming it up, right?
Yeah, and Cage, like, this is his day, man. Like, this is, again, somebody who's on top of the world right now. When we're referring to, like, Jenny McCarthy and somebody else. I forget who now. Weed. Flubber. Yeah. Flubber came out. It's an all right movie. I love me some Robin Williams. Really, really sad that he ended his life. It's a shame. Yeah. G.I. Jane. Great fucking movie.
I'm glad that we got his later performances before he went.
Oh, sure.
The stuff that he did later in his life, it was a nice balance to like Mork and Mindy and all that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Which is why I've been a fan of his my whole life, because of Mork and Mindy. I mean, I adore Robin Williams. Really do. Dude, my stand-up ultimately is probably has reflections of him in it. When it comes to just being super energetic or something like that, that's all Robin Williams being, he what's the word? Channeling him. There we go.
Channeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gattaca. I loved Gattaca too, man. Another great movie. Have you seen it?
I have. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble getting behind Ethan Hawke in some of his movies.
Oh, really?
One of them.
You don't like Training Day?
Overall, no, I love Training Day.
Yeah, Training Day is a great movie.
That's what I'm saying. I like a lot of his movies, and there's just a very select few that don't get me, and this is one of them.
Well, Gattaca is a creeper to me. I don't think it had the great success, but I think it's still a really good movie. George of the Jungle came out that year, and this coming from Brendan Fraser, who was also on top of the world in '97. I bring this up,
when he started to slide, right?
I think it was later than this, because he had the Mummy movie. That's when he hit the top, and then it was after that he started sliding. But I bring him up because he's relevant again, obviously, with that Oscar he just won for that movie.
Yeah.
Which just happened to fit him perfect because he was already fat. But I say that out loud. I'm sorry.
You did.
He's a great actor.
They did put him in a fat
really.
suit, and he won an Oscar, dude.
Oh, okay. He was a fat suit? Okay. I know he was fat at one point. Good Burger came out that year. I haven't seen it. I just know it was huge for a lot of people.
So I think Good Burger is kind of what a lot of people think of when they think of Keenan.
Yes.
Right?
Right. That's what I think of. Welcome to Good Burger.
It's so different than like what he does now in SNL, and has been for like 5-10 years, whatever. Yeah. He's been on for forever. But now he's kind of settled into a great role at SNL, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to see him because the dude's been doing this shit his whole life. I mean, practically. He's been on TV. I mean, like 97. That's a long damn time. And he was just a kid back then.
Right.
Yeah, we're doing a show for Nickelodeon. Let's see. Good Will Hunting. I still have not seen that movie. As much as I've seen like references as far as like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, that whole reference.
Affleck, Williams.
Great movies. I mean, great actors,
Yeah.
These guys got their big break off this movie.
Yeah.
Affleck and Damon. Oh, they wrote it.
It's a serious movie too, right?
Right. Yeah, that's probably why. I mean, I definitely wasn't down for serious as much back then, for sure. It's something I could appreciate now. And of course, I mentioned the movie Honey, We Shrank Ourselves.
Right.
So that, like I said, that's still a big thing at the time. I haven't seen those movies except for probably the first one. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, this is big because this is on the heels of, it didn't come out this year, but Scream 2 did come out this year, but this is on the heels of the Scream run. So everybody was trying to take advantage of the teens at the time. Brian mentioned Buffy the Vampire Slayer. All these kids, American Pie didn't come out for a couple years, but all these kids, man, they eventually start making it into all these movies. So we're used to seeing the same faces in a lot of these. I Know What You Did Last Summer and the Scream stuff. So Scream 2 is also on the list. I kind of jumped ahead there.
I remember the first Scream, and I liked it. I thought it was a great movie. Everything afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not too bad of a movie. Of all the especially Wes Craven, my least favorite. Anything Last House on the Left, his first movie sucks pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, it's horrible, dude. I don't suggest you ever waste your life watching that movie. There's nothing good about it. Jackie Brown.
I was going to say, you got to mention Jackie Brown.
Yeah,
right?
man. Tarantino.
Tarantino, the white dude that brought all of these people together. He drops N-bombs.
Yeah.
In everything that he does, and everybody's cool with it. So I guess he's providing representation of some kind.
I guess, man. Maybe he's got an honorary black card. Who knows?
Yeah.
They're hard to get, man. Kiss the Girls. Great movie I enjoyed it. I don't know if you've seen it. Morgan Freeman.
I have.
Ashley Judd. I think.
Yeah. And it was based on a series of novels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but that series, Kiss the Girls. I think there were 3 that they did, and many, many novels. They were like crime novels.
Okay. Yeah, it was a good movie. I like that one.
Yeah.
Cole the Conqueror. That's old Conan's pappy.
Yep.
This had Kevin Sorbo, everybody's favorite conservative.
Right.
He played Cole. Yeah, we saw it in the theater. A group of mine. It's okay. It had Tia Carrere in it, who was huge, and I could not stand Tia Carrere and everything she was in. I mean, I just don't know what it is about her. I never, ever liked her, and she tainted some of the greatest movies, like Rising Sun. What a great movie, and she's in that. But I just try and look past it. Cole is just, it's what you expect. It's the same kind of budget as Conan. It's just made at a time to me that it was past where you could make those movies, and
I agree,
and it looked good. L.A. Confidential came out that year. That's a big time, real life thing happened. They made a movie about it. Lost Highway, great movie.
Amazing movie.
Brilliant movie. Got Rammstein in it. What can you say, man? They put Rammstein on the map. Mimic.
I did watch Mimic.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it. It's been a long time, but I bring it up because that's Guillermo del Toro early work there. Yeah. So definitely worth checking out if you're into his stuff and you haven't seen all his stuff. Go check it out. It's worth a shot. He was a visual effects guy. Before he was a director, so know this. Go look for some of his visual effect work. You'll get enlightened and realize that, hey, I've been seeing that kind of artistry in some other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing stuff before he was directing.
Yeah, definitely. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It gets mentioned because of what it is. I never saw it. Don't care for Mortal Kombat. Don't like the game. Murder at 1600. I don't think I've ever seen it.
It wasn't like this was a point in time where action movies needed a little more, and this is Wesley Snipes.
Yeah,
another one of his action movies.
Yeah, I like Wesley a lot. I think I would like this
Blade was one of the best Marvel treatments.
Oh yeah, man! It's pretty much it was pretty much the first successful Marvel movie, I would say,
right.
For sure. Orgasmo.
I want your react. Well, we got to get. Well, go ahead with Orgasmo. I got one I want to ask you.
Okay, sure. Orgasmo, I'm just going to mention, that's Trey Parker and Matt Stone from South Park. And it's about as ridiculous as you can imagine they could be. So the only thing that disappoints me in this movie is there's no nudity. There should have been nudity in this movie.
There should have been. But yeah, it was just them being raunchy, and it was a good time.
It's like 80. I mean, it has a very 80s type raunch feel to it, but no nudity. I mean, you could not do that in the 80s and not throw some titties on the screen for at least one time.
But this is where we get the DVDA from, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it might have been about the rating they wanted to. I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows? What were you going to throw at me?
Private Parts.
Oh, yes. We saw this.
I know you're a huge Howard fan.
Were you with us?
No, I was not.
Darren and I saw this together. I thought you were with us.
I don't know. I thought I went by myself. I watch a lot of movies.
I'm almost, I don't know who I was with. I was going to say it was me, you, and Darren.
Yeah.
But I know
it was a great movie, though.
I know we saw Mask together, didn't we?
For sure.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, and maybe it was just me and Darren on that one. But Private Parts. What can I say? I was a huge and somewhat still am a big Howard Stern fan back then, for sure. Like I just thought he.
And this is totally not what he was doing at that time, right? It was not. It was almost. It was a comedic version of a documentary, almost. Right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, he wrote a book called Private Parts, and the movie and the book really don't. I mean, like the book's just telling his life story, which the movie does too. But as far as how they're laid out, like the book is just way different.
Way different.
Yeah, I mean, like real different. because there's a lot more he talks about, obviously, than just that one part of his life. But yeah, it's just the way it's laid out is totally different.
And it's another show you don't get boobs on, right? Or was there a boob?
There's boobs in that one. Oh yes,
yes,
great boobs,
sure. Yeah.
great boobs. She rides.
Remember now, it's a big deal.
Yeah, that chick that rides the speakers, she's got. Oof, I think I can't. Well, I could say that. I'm pretty sure I pleasured myself recently to that. Or as Worf would say, what was it? The self-evaluation. I was self-evaluating. Let's see. We're almost to the end.
Wishmaster, it makes the list for me back then, but not anymore. It was different, right?
I'm not sure. Now I'm getting confused. I thought that I had seen that, but I'm thinking of another movie. I'm thinking of Warlock now, so I'm not sure I've seen The Wishmaster.
Warlock was great too.
Wait a minute. No, we watched it.
Evil Gen.
Yeah, I have seen it. We watched it not too long ago, but I don't remember exactly what all went on with it.
Basically trapped in a stone, I think. It's been a while since I've seen it. Like I said, it doesn't really make the list for me anymore. But commits all these atrocities and granting of wishes.
Well, a few of these I'm just going to pick out some of these that they don't even bear talking about. Rocket Man. Oh, yeah. Speed 2, Cruise Control. That's it. That's all we have to say. The Saint, I enjoyed a lot. It was obviously a remake.
I know you're a huge Val fan.
Yeah, I like Val.
Yeah, I liked it too.
I really do, man. I've always been a fan of Val since Top Secret. That was the movie that did it for me. And then Top Gun. Yeah, 2 top movies right in a row. I've already mentioned Scream 2. Starship Troopers. I love Starship Troopers. Yeah.
At the time, there were a lot of people that still weren't ready for that kind of, I don't know, what do you call that? It's not like it was an action movie, but there was it's all
gory.
Newsworthy now, right?
Are you talking about the gore factor of it?
No, I'm talking about the humor factor of it.
Oh yeah, I mean it. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe what it is, but I'm trying to think of the director's name. He's a crazy German.
I've got it here.
It's not Verbinski. I keep wanting to say Gore Verbinski, but it's not that.
Right.
It's Scheiser.
Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven. Yeah, Paul Verhoeven, who you know from Total Recall. And he has when he does gore, he is very gory, and that's why you get what you get. In like the scene with Arnold's eyes popping out of his head. I mean, that's Verhoeven, 100%. The people getting cut in half by the bugs in Starship Troopers, all Verhoeven. He is a gore nut. Like I say, crazy German. And the last on my list anyway, Trekkies. Everybody's favorite Trekkies with Denise Crosby. It's a documentary. Denise Crosby goes around to Trek conventions, talks to different Trekkers. It's actually a very good documentary. They made a sequel about it some years later that she also was in. But yeah, one of the greatest old Trek documentaries. Definitely, if you're a fan and you haven't seen it, you must see it and the sequel. Required reading.
I don't know that I've ever sat and watched it. Watched everything throughout, but I have caught probably the whole thing in bits and pieces, right?
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't mention Wag the Dog. That was kind of a big movie.
I'm not sure. I've probably seen it, and I just don't remember.
It's more in the movie sphere than the geek sphere. In my opinion.
Yeah. It's probably on my wife's list, I would bet. In fact, I'm going to ask her later tonight if I can remember that, because I bet you anything. 'Cause she's like a Salton Sea, true romance kind of girl.
That was Hoffman, De Niro, Harrelson, Willie Nelson was in it.
Wow.
Dennis Leary. It was an interesting movie, but it was also kind of one of those weird things about serious in one way, but trying to not take it serious, but being presented as serious. I don't know.
Yeah. Dark comedy or not dark? I don't know. I guess dark comedy is not really the word for it.
No.
Like slightly.
If I recall correctly, this was the year that the director's cut of Das Boot came out.
Of what?
The old director's cut of Das Boot.
Yeah. Did it come out in
movie.
'97? I don't know. I didn't catch that. I did try and limit my search to U.S. stuff because we were getting so much junk, coming through. It's like, okay, I don't need all this foreign shit that I've never seen.
Right.
It probably got cut for that reason, for sure.
Yeah,
Das Boot is one of my favorite movies. For one, I can give many reasons. One, it's a submarine movie, and I was going to be a submariner in the Navy. It did not work out, unfortunately, for medical reasons, but I've always had a fascination for submarines, fascination for the Navy, but if you like want to be in a world like Star Trek, there's only one way to do it, and that's to join the Navy, for one, to get in that kind of like ranking system, how they are, because they use Navy ranks in Starfleet. The second closest thing to getting to space and feeling like you're in space is to be underwater. So I thought, wow, submarines. I had a buddy, from our drumline in high school that graduated years before and would come back. He was a submariner in the Navy, so he would always talk about it. So, I would always hear that stuff. And then hell, once I had that resurgence back into Rammstein, a couple of years ago. So I decided I was going to start teaching myself German. That adds to the factor of, just being able to sit down and watch that movie and try and watch it without subtitles is a lot of fun. Right. It's just a great damn movie. It's long. You gotta have stamina.
Some people, I would say that some people would say it's boring, but I don't know if you can get into it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's as real as it gets, honestly.
Yeah.
For the time it's supposed to take place in, it's as real as it could possibly get for you.
Yeah. So here's one that I don't know why it didn't make your list, and I want your thoughts on it.
I may have just missed it. What is
Oliver Twist, Dreyfuss, and Elijah.
Oh,
Richard Dreyfuss and Elijah Wood did Oliver Twist.
I don't know about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was their attempt at big movie star names doing Oliver Twist.
Bro, I do not remember that at all. Now I need to go check that out. Was it a musical or was it just a drama?
No, it was more drama.
Interesting.
There probably had to be like musical moments in it, right?
Possibly.
But it was not like, I consider Popeye a musical.
Well, I mean, Oliver was just a musical because it was meant for the stage.
Right.
But Oliver Twist obviously was just written as a book, so it didn't have to be a musical. Who'd you say was in it again? Elijah Wood and who? Bob Hoskins? Is that who you said?
No, Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss. Okay. I like Elijah Wood. I might want to check that out. I'm not sure if I like Richard Dreyfuss being in it, but we'll see. Who knows?
Not necessarily for me, but Mouse Hunt came out that year. Walken was in it, Christopher Walken.
Okay, I saw it on the list, but I didn't recognize it.
And Nathan Lane. I'm a huge fan of Nathan Lane.
I liked him in Birdcage.
Yeah, he was great in Birdcage. Wasn't he in...
He was in The Lion King.
Having some Mandela moments that I'm not sure what he was in, but yeah, he was in The Lion King.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just a great comedian to me.
Yeah, I like Nathan. All right, he's all right.
There are a couple of more. You said Wrong Turn, right?
No, I don't think I did. That is a good one.
The Wrong Turn.
Yeah, that produced a whole series, like 3 movies, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Jones was popular. That was more of a black culture type movie, along with So Plain from Snoop.
Yeah.
So those are popular. Lolita.
Yeah, Taboo. I saw that on the list too, but
not really something that I think I would care to watch.
Yeah, I've seen it, but
it's notable, right? It's in the pop.
Makes you feel creepy just watching it, in my opinion.
Right? Yeah, even talking about it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just I was gonna ask you, do you remember any games you were playing? Because I haven't looked up I want to. This is off the top of our head stuff I'm throwing at you now. I know going based on what came out that year, the Unreal came out that year. I remember that because it was a big deal. It's actually when 3D chips market because of that game.
Well, also Ultima Online came out that year, right?
Oh, did it? Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I didn't really play it, but I think that's the year it came out.
I'm trying to think of what would have stood out.
You didn't mention The Jackal, by the way. Bruce Willis movie was great.
Oh, really? I must have missed that one. Yeah, that is a good one. Glad you caught it. Definitely a good one.
So far as what I was playing, though,
could be console too.
This was, well, I was even going tabletop. This was after mine and Darren's tabletop group that we had that was very rare and disjointed and whatever.
Yeah.
But before the CDO tabletop stuff. So I don't think I was playing any of that. Final Fantasy VII?
Most definitely.
Probably was the only thing I really played. We played a lot of Magic, like we said.
Yeah, we played a shit ton of Magic the Gathering, definitely.
That was just there. It was ubiquitous, right?
Yeah, it was. Yes, just part of your nerd handbook, man, or kit, your nerd kit. You had to have that. And it's interesting that Pokemon came out this year because Pokemon for us was not even a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But this was a point in time where people, like me, I was one of the people. I only had like a couple of decks, if I can recall correctly.
Yeah.
As opposed to the long boxes and notebooks and all this other stuff some of our friends had, right?
Yeah, I had a box maybe that shit, if I can get my hands to go the right way, about that long. It wasn't, it wasn't too big.
But that's big enough for like a couple of days, right?
Yeah, now I'm starting to think maybe I'm lying that I did have a triple box, one that had like, a long box that had triple separators in it. Think about it. I can't remember. I still have a few of the cards, not very many. I pulled them out a couple of years ago. Nothing really notable.
I mean, I've tried some online Magic stuff, but no.
I forgot how to play. I'd have to relearn. I totally can't remember, but I remember playing the hell out of it in high school.
New rules every edition, man.
Yeah. Well, who needs that? Jesus.
Yeah.
I want to relearn new rules every time. I was looking to see anything on my list. I
can't think of.
Do you know what consoles you had at the time? Do you remember? Just a PS1?
Well, I mean, if I was playing Final Fantasy VII, it would have been a PS1. Yeah.
You think that's all you had?
That's probably it.
Yeah.
It was after, I'd lost interest in my Nintendo and never got a Super Nintendo because I couldn't afford it at the time. Or, no, not the SNES, the next one, the flat one.
64? The 64?
No. Now I remember I was playing a shitload of Tetris with my friends in the Ashford.
There you go. See, I knew I'd jog that memory somehow.
That was, N64, huge console. I was actually thinking of the one before it.
I remember Darren being really talking about it a ton before it came out. I can't wait for the Nintendo 64, man. SGI, because he knew I was into graphics workstations and stuff. SGI's making the chip, man.
Well, that's when we got Turok, which was not.
Yeah.
It was a difficult game because of bugs, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
But also it was a lot of the N64 stuff was blocky, right?
It was a total different, so my brother and I were big on playing the wrestling games. Like, we'd watch wrestling on TV, and then we'd just, as soon as it was over, we'd jump on and just play our own wrestling. We had one game that had come out on the Nintendo 64, and the same name, exact same game, right, name and all, ended up on the PlayStation 1 as well. Two totally different games in the way they looked, in the way they played. Like, the PS1 had characters looked like more like the actual characters. It was just it was like watching a video with a very bad codec, like a really shitty codec that has a lot of blocks. And the music was great, however. Then you get to the Nintendo 64, and the characters barely look like anything. They've got, primitives basically making up their body, right?
Right.
And and the movement's totally different.
GoldenEye.
Playing, GoldenEye was huge. I think that, I don't know if, did it come out in 97 or 98? I want to say 98.
I want to say it was 97.
Was it? Okay, it could have been late 97.
It
might have been Christmas 97.
I think it was a Christmas.
Yeah, that makes sense, definitely. But yeah, it's amazing how one game that had the same name for two different systems, and the playability was just totally different. Like the moves were different, and how you had to approach everything was totally different. So sometimes we would say, well, let's play it on the Nintendo 64 just because, I just want to have that experience right now and the way it plays.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to, how many games do you know that could sell 2 copies of the same game on different consoles? That's kind of a wild prospect. And we enjoyed it. We would go between the two quite often.
Yeah. Now, I didn't play it at the time, but it has to be noted. Grand Theft Auto was out that year.
Yes, it was. Yeah, the early primitive, what I call primitive version of Grand Theft Auto. It was so different.
It was just a top-down view.
Yeah.
You're in a car. You got a gun, maybe.
Yeah, I played it too, buddy. I remember playing it back when Ball and Claw came into existence. The little computer suite.
Curse of Monkey Island.
Yeah,
was out that year.
Yeah,
big title. I never really got into it.
I'm sure I was playing X-Wing. I'm sure X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I don't think came out until '99. But I know I was playing X-Wing or TIE Fighter. Actually, I was probably playing just TIE Fighter because it had a better engine.
1997, Star Wars X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Yep.
Verified.
Awesome. It was like it was like X-Wing version 3. And it being on, it was the first time it was offered on CD because the previous 2 were only diskette. So you were getting CD quality audio, much better looking ships. Again, 3D was just starting to emerge. So you're finally getting some better looking assets and stuff. For me, it wasn't until X-Wing Alliance.
Point, right?
What's that?
Sin, we weren't playing Sin.
No, Sin we didn't play till 99.
Okay.
Yeah. X-Wing Alliance was what ultimately took the X-Wing series to its pinnacle and the best graphics. There actually have been people who have gone back and done mods to X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter and X-Wing Alliance to bring up the graphic quality. So if you're into those games and want to get them playing on your machine, you might go check them out.
You want to talk about graphic quality in 1997, we have to go to one game and one game alone.
Well, I mentioned Unreal. What were you going to mention? Did Doom or Quake come out that year?
Gran Turismo.
Ah, yes. The first racing.
Was concerned?
Yeah, on a PS1 back then, it was impressive. Definitely. Right. You would look at it now and go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But listen, you have to understand. Yeah, you have to understand. We came from Ataris, kids. These things were rough. We had a lot of fun with one block hitting a ball at another block.
Handful of bits.
Bong, bong. I mean, bro, you got to know. Y'all are spoiled nowadays with the graphics quality, for real. But yeah.
I think that's all I have on my list. There was a Fallout game, but it can't be the original Fallout, right? Which I didn't play.
Could be, yeah. Could be the original Fallout. It was turn-based, yeah. So Fallout, yes, that's a great one to end it on, for sure, because Fallout coming out that year, I did not like turn-based games. Warhammer has kept that and still does on a lot of their games. They're growing on me more as I'm older because I like just being able to know, not be rushed through stuff.
Our buddy Jay got me into that franchise, so that was later anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he did. Well, he did me too in a way. It's only because of him that I know what it even really is all about, and I have it installed on one of the computers, but Hogwarts Legacy came out, distracted me. Ask me how long it's been since I played Hogwarts Legacy.
A month.
No, it hasn't been that long, I don't think. It's been at least a couple weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That sucks, dude.
You made it sound like it was a while, and 2 weeks can be a while.
Yeah, 2 weeks is just sad for me because I don't want to not be playing it right now. That's what sucks.
I've been thinking myself into Dying Light. That was one of those free ones that came out not long ago.
Yeah.
And I just every free second I'm playing that. It's at the time, it was a very groundbreaking game, in my opinion. It was different. But it's kind of old now, and so it's not necessarily like an amazing game you have to play, but if you haven't experienced it, you should experience it.
Definitely. Well, listen.
So we got music?
Well,
we're getting
super long into it, and
Yeah.
we still got other stuff to record tonight, so we have got to put a little bow on this one. We can always come back and revisit the music of 1997 if you want to, put a pin in it, certainly, because there's some days when we need content, so there you go.
I will say, you did have one question on here I'll hit.
Okay, hit it.
I have one hobby. It was smoking weed.
Yes, no doubt. That was definitely one of my hobbies. Unfortunately, I was into way more crap that I didn't need to be into back then.
Right, yeah. I guess I'm glad I never got that.
Yeah, no doubt. But this was 1997, kids, so it was a great year for us. I really enjoyed the latter 90s. I really did. From 95 to 2000, I can say was one of my favorite times growing up. Even though, like I said, I was into some shit, but it was still an awesome time, man. There was a lot of cool shit going on. It was a great time to be alive. There was.
I would say, as a person who suffered from like lifelong depression and crap like that, this was one of the happier periods in my life.
Yep, no doubt. I mean, like I was trying. I think back to like what kind of bad stuff was going on at the time, and you compare it to stuff like today or whatever, and man, it was just, life was simple. Life was so much easier. Yeah. It was way easier. People respected each other a lot more. So we'll do this again. We're going to pick random years from time to time. Well, who knows what the next one. We're
going to have to figure out a way to keep the time down on them.
Yeah, no doubt. We can get to reminiscing, can't we?
Yeah.
Do you have an idea for a year you might want to tease, perhaps?
Maybe 99. I'll have to get back to you.
Ooh, I like 99. Good year.
Yeah.
We had a friend who we
spent... A lot of fear in that year, though, right?
Yeah, well, there's just a good year. Yeah, okay. I like that one. We'll keep that one in mind. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go record these reactions for Picard and Mandalorian now, so be looking out for those soon. Of course, those come out before you see this, so I don't even know why I'm saying that.
Yeah, so smash that like, smash the subscribe, leave us a comment, tell us your favorite stuff from that year if you were around. Even if you weren't, maybe you've gone back and caught some of these shows because you can, right?
That's right.
Like we did with the old Doctor Who stuff.
That's right. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. As always, peace out. I don't know why I said that. Peace out. I like to say on the flip side. I'll see you on the flip side. That's my thing. What am I doing? I'm fucking up my own video. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. That's right.